Cooking in clay pots was very common in the olden days. I remember my amma, she had this beautiful earthen pot in which she used to boil rice, and she had a special wooden spoon for that to stir the rice while it was boiling. So most of us have also shifted to cooking into cast iron, kansa and clay. You guys have seen my videos where I do use clay pots and kadhais to make sabzis or special curries. I often get asked questions of how to season a clay pot. Sometimes in excitement, I've also gone for exhibitions and I've found earthenware, and I've got it home where they have promised me that they have seasoned it, and I've just washed it and put it on the flame, and it is cracked. So even if they tell you it is seasoned, it's very important that you season an earthen clay pot at home, otherwise it's gone. So basically what you do now, I've got a new earthen chota sa bartan over here to make dal. And sometimes we're just 2 of us at home or 3 of us, so this much is good enough to make a simple dal. So I have washed this with a mild soap and sponge. Don't use that katha, that hard rough thing to wash the utensils, because it gets scratched. So use a sponge with a soft mild detergent. You wash it and then you immerse this in water for 24 hours. Now there are people who also use rice starch. So you boil rice, and when you drain the starch, you collect that starch and you dip your clay vessels in that starch water, but that I feel becomes very cumbersome. I've tried it once and it also starts stinking after a while. You can see these little bubbles that are coming out when I've immersed it into the water. That's because clay is porous, right? So now why we put it in water is so that the moisture gets retained into the clay pot, because that's very important. You need a lot of moisture when you're cooking. So when you immerse the clay pot in water, it also retains the moisture while we're seasoning it. Now after you soak the clay pot in water for 24 hours, just remove it, pat it dry, fill it with water, and on a very low flame, just keep the water to boil. Once the water is boiled, shut the flame, throw the water off, and you can wipe it clean, and your clay pot is seasoned. Now there is another technique also, that you can use oil. Once the clay pot is removed from water after 24 hours that it's been kept in water, pat it dry, apply a nice layer of oil to it and heat it. That is also another technique to season your clay pots. Now that we've learned how to season a clay pot, let's see how to use it in cooking. Now basically clay pots cannot withstand high temperatures. So you can make beautiful simple curries in this, or some sauteed vegetables. Like in our Karnataka, we make upkaris, where you just have a simple tadka of jeera or mustard leaves with little suka mirchi, kadi patta, and you just put the vegetable into it and you just slightly toss it, cover it and cook it. Very simple sabzis. So simple sabzis or your fish curries turn out really good in a clay pot. And also the moisture, basically what happens is the clay pot heats up evenly. It also releases moisture when it's cooking, so you do not need too much of oil or too much of water while cooking in clay pots. I had a friend who had bought a clay pot, and she called me up and saying, Smita, you know what, I can't give a tadka, like the mustard or the cumin does not splutter very easily. So the funny thing was, I'd like to show you this, actually demonstrate this. So let me use a seasoned kadhai here. I'm going to heat it. You can see the fumes that are coming out from the clay pot. Now people think, arey clay pot to garam ho gaya, but when you touch it, it is not hot. So it takes a long time for a clay pot to get hot. So now we'll add oil. So once the entire kadhai is hot, then the oil in that will also start heating quickly. Now we'll wait. It takes a very long time. It's not impossible, but these are small little techniques which I have learned with trial and error. So I thought I'll share this with you guys. See, now I'm just going to splatter mustard seeds, and now you can see it takes time. So you felt that the kadai was really hot, but in spite of the fumes, the oil was not really hot and the mustard seeds have not spluttered. It takes time. So these are small things that you need to figure when you're cooking in clay pot. So the best thing is you have, see now it's dheere dheere it is spluttering. Can you hear that? So now I'll put my cumin seeds. Fatafat ho gaya. So ऐसा नहीं कि you can't give a तड़का in a clay pot. You can, but it takes a long time. और उसको थोड़ा high heat पे गरम करना पड़ता है, which you know the durability of the utensil is थोड़ा जल्दी से फिर crack हो जाएगा. So don't give tadkas in a clay kadai. You can give them in your cast iron or kansa kadai to give a tadka. इसमें you can just have a little bit of stirring, sauteing, and then you add your sabzi or your fish curry or whatever, mutton curry also. Or you can cook your biryani also in it, where there's no stir frying, where you just dunk in the meat that's marinated, your rice, cover it and cook it. It gives a beautiful earthy aroma to your dish. So please cook in earthenware wherever possible. Like your dals also taste very well. Now to clean a clay pot is very easy. Rinse it first. Use a mild soap with a sponge. Just wash it and keep it in the sun till it's nice and dry. Then pat it dry and put it in your cupboard. That's the only simple way to keep it clean and reuse it again. So definitely invest in a clay pot. Make amazing fish curries. Make your biryanis. And let me know. And keep watching Simplified with Smita.